So the numbers.
And
Go ahead.
this is Travis.
Yes.
Just so I understand, each point on this chart is when an ad was run.
Yeah. Well, it's a weekly sales for the week of the ad.
Oh, okay. It's the weekly sales. Okay. And there was an ad run every week.
Yes.
Okay.
Here, let me go back to the chart just to go over it again so we can see. Usually I put the chart in along with the chart. I mean the table along with the chart because it gives context, but it showed up too small. It wasn't readable on the screen. So here we have for instance, each week.
Okay.
So
Sorry.
The purpose is not to be right. It's to avoid making things worse.
Yeah, I'm just thinking from a perspective of, making some decisions. Like I was thinking about the chart of Messi that you had, and only when you look at it over a longer period of time are you able to see the trend. But maybe he started doing something early on that was having just incremental improvements, and he had to give it time to actually eventually see. Like maybe from 11th of February to 18th of February, there was something that was done that was special, and maybe continuing to do that would show some continued improvement.
It's a very good question, and this is what everybody thinks, and me in the beginning, and we'll go into it later, and I'll spend more time on it. But the truth is, in between, if it's within the upper and lower limit, the individual data points don't matter. They're all the same. Again, if they're within the upper and lower limits of predictable variation, it's just random. It's just luck of the draw. Because there's so many complex causes that are causing that change, say, between the 18th and the 25th and the 2nd of March, let's say, that you'll never find it. It's economically a waste of time unless you're willing to go back and fundamentally change your system. And that will change what the limits of the natural variation will be. Does that make sense to you, David? It's the human tendency, we are built psychologically, our mind structures are built to want to make sense out of things. And particularly we want to make logical sense that makes us feel good. We're kind of logical, possible, we like it type creatures. And it's a good thing. It allows us to get through life. But it's a bad thing when you're trying to solve a problem because you want to see things. And you'll end up seeing things on paper that aren't necessarily there. If you start thinking that the model is real, you're in trouble. So what the chart does, the process behavior chart, and what statistical thinking does is to understand and see that there are two fundamentally different types of variation, and they need to be treated differently. And this chart tells us in situations where it's very hard to see for the naked eye, either we do something or we have something to blame, or there isn't, we do something or we don't. So as tempting as it is to see what you're saying, it's chasing a rabbit horn. It's probably something that doesn't exist. It's not worth it. You get much better effect by saying, okay, if it's within the two limits and I measure properly and I'm not seeing anything out of the ordinary, this is the way it'll run in the future. And chances are that number that went up will drop down, like what happened in the 28th of January and or the 4th of January to the 11th of February. It goes up, it goes down. The system is always pulling things back into balance and getting it closer to the center line. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it seems like if you're going to make a decision ahead of time to run an ad, that you have to plan how long you're going to run it. Because if you just run it for, too short a time, you won't necessarily know, unless it's such a big spike that it's really obvious. But if it's smaller, you'd probably need 6 or 9 data points to really tell.
Well, From the supermarket point of view, I would look at it another way. Doesn't make a difference to run an ad at all, and that's another study. But I could tell you from experience, I don't need to do a chart to tell you that damn straight it does. If a market that doesn't run regular weekly ads and flyers will in the end start to lose business and lose sales and lose market share to other supermarkets. What this looks at is, does the item in the ad matter? And maybe it's important to have an item on the ad, but does it really matter what the item is? And you need to start other tests and trying other things to see exactly what you can get away with. Because if the ad's not really affecting the volume of the sales week to week, then you're taking something you make a lot of profit on, you're cutting the price down, and you're just giving money away, then, why do that? Why give away margin? That's a business economic decision. But all this does is supply you pointers for more research. It doesn't provide answers. It tells you the way things are. You can know that the ads, the individual items of the ads, don't make a difference. You would have to do another study that would involve actually not running ads to know whether or not ads make a difference. And we'd have to play with a lot of different ad items to see if, okay, I stop running items that are such hot prices, would in the end I start to lose sales in the store? Those are all different studies, but those are the questions you should be asking. The question should not be, what item should I put on the ad? The question should be, how can I use the ad, or can I use the ad in order to help me and run my business better? Does that make sense, David? This leads you past bad questions to get you to better questions.